My name is Alex, and my job is to explore the world around me and take you along for the ride. I've guided a lot of adventures and have come to realize that our planet needs us now more than it ever has before. And I've learned it's only going to be through working together that we can restore biodiversity on our planet. Join myself and my friends as we bring you into the tent of conservation and the realm of the wild itself. And along the way, we'll be exploring wild things in wild places.
We're live, we're live, we're live.
It's Saturday Night Live.
Look, the audio thing's working.
Oh, good. I'm happy
This is
the audio's
basically
working.
Animal Saturday Night Live.
It kind of is a little bit.
Little
you know.
bit.
I'm happy about it.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Alex, your host. We've got Zach with us tonight, and Jeff will be back here soon. Feel free to join the chat at any point. I'm watching it right here, I swear. So if you have a question or comment, whatever, just jump into the show. This is way more fun if we get to interact with you and the rest of the audience and kind of just cut loose and, talk about wildlife, right?
Let's get weird.
Yeah, let's get weird indeed.
Yeah.
We certainly are. We've got a heavy pour of tequila, cheer,
You betcha.
margarita. I don't know what you guys have, but hopefully it's something equally as strenuous on the gut.
There's a couple of people over there like, I've got a nice warm tea.
A nice cozy tea. Just waiting to see if anyone was joining us there on the stream. So far, just us. That's fine. We're guides.
Yeah.
We spend our lives talking to ourselves,
That's
basically.
fine.
So
Yeah. Or animals.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you today, Kudu? Lots of chewing. At any rate, guys, we've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to be going over myths about African travel, which, if you watched last week, is going to be a little bit familiar because some of the points we're going to be talking about are actually the same points and others are very different. The content for that has all come from numerous different sources online that we have compiled together to try to create the top 10 talking points about what people think is weird about Africa. What would be the biggest one to you that you've come across?
Africa is scary.
Africa is scary. I guess it depends on the way you look at it.
Yeah, and where you go.
Or where you go, yeah. Parts of Egypt,
Conte d'Ivoire.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
No, I liked my head, thank you.
And then the show was canceled.
Jeez.
We've got Brian with us tonight. Welcome, Brian. Glad
Hey,
to have you on
Brian.
board.
How you going?
What do you think? Just get straight to it?
Sure. I mean, Brian's here, so.
Brian's here. The whole, we're all joining in. It's going to be
it's
great.
good, yeah.
As far as conservation news goes, guys, some good news right off the bat here. Let's pull this up from EWT, Endangered Wildlife Trust, South Africa. We had
Hello. Baby.
a baby what?
A baby leopard. Yeah.
Up here.
In the tree?
No, it's pictures right here.
Oh, yes, baby leopard.
Baby leopard.
So I'm an associate with the Endangered Wildlife Trust in South Africa. I work out of a mountain range called the Sopansberg. And so in the Sopansberg, like that project in particular, we are looking at how many, what's the population of leopards looking like throughout that range. And so when you get better numbers on species, you can sort of better make conservation decisions about how to better protect them in the wild. And so there is a big male leopard, the resident male leopard of the Sopansberg, is named after me. So his name is Zach, and this is his cub just here.
And does the cub have a name yet?
His name is Luna. So it's a
Luna, so
female.
it's a she, yeah.
It's a she, so I have a daughter.
Did you see any cubs when you were up there?
No. I saw tracks of cubs, but I didn't physically see any kids. Really.
And the image you guys are seeing up here between our heads, we can't see it, of course, it's not here, but for you it's
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us at all, like, do you know what part of the reserve that was captured on, or can you give us any details there?
So that particular spot where that station is so the Sopansberg isn't like grassland, elephants, lions, Africa. It's like really forested and really montane. And so where that camera station is up on a ridge of a mountain peak pretty much. And so down over the ridge is a river, and then there's up another side of the mountains just there. And so, yeah, that's where it is.
Cool. So way out there.
Way out there.
And what would be the biggest issue facing leopards in that region of South Africa?
So this part of South Africa is very different than, say, like the Kruger area.
Sure.
So leopards here are terrified of people. They hear people, smell people, and they go the other direction generally. So a lot of the things that they face are, wandering into game farmers' properties, and game farmers don't like predators, and so they remove predators. Things like, moving into so the Sopansberg, within it. So we work in a little reserve called Madiki, and so Madiki sits right off the back of a community of 100,000 people, and so. Basically, native South Africans that live there, the Vendar people aren't very thrilled about leopards either. So mostly it's like human-wildlife conflict.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the case no matter where you are in the world. And,
Yeah.
it's a common theme.
Yeah, got to coexist.
Hey, Pam, glad to see you on the stream.
Hey.
In case you didn't catch, we were just talking about this beautiful little leopard cub who is living in the Sopanberg region of South Africa. It's part of a project that Zach is actually involved with. When he was out there, there's a leopard actually named Zach for Zach.
Yeah.
And recently Zach had a baby. So
I have a daughter. Yay.
here she is right up front there. Moving swiftly on, we're going to jump into a completely different neck of the woods. We're going to Greenland. Thanks to mangabay.com, we've got this headline. Really no surprise here that ice sheets are retreating all across the planet, right?
Yeah.
I think all of you guys certainly are aware of that, know about that going on. The headline in this particular case is ice sheets are retreating at a point where they're never going to come back within our lifetime, within a projected lifetime. And Greenland is the best example. It's now been conferred upon by climate scientists that the ice sheet is retreating so fast, even if we had decades of heavy snowfall every winter, that ice sheet couldn't ever be restored to what it was before. And I think in our line of work, we certainly come across folks who quite often say, but the climate has always changed. What's the big deal?
Then I would say generally the people that say those things have never read a scientific paper or really have any sort of baseline understanding about the material that they have strong opinions about. And
Sure.
so my brain's going, well, you don't get a vote, friend,
You guys have any thoughts about that? I mean, it's just one of those things. Like if I were to try to tell someone how to repair a computer, I'd be an idiot because, I mean, I know nothing about repairing computers.
Right. Or this is in the vein of, all right, let's play pretend. You have a heart issue, right?
Sure.
So what if you got a doctor that is trained and knows how to do heart surgery, or listen to some guy on the street that said, I can fix you up just fine. And so you get some random
With
guy.
essential oils.
It's the same thing. So you wouldn't take that same logic with anything else, but this particular thing, I got strong opinions.
It's interesting because I feel like any of the science fields, throw a dart, and the medical field, which of course is a science field, are subjected to these kind of thoughts.
Correct.
And elsewhere, it's just non-existent, you know?
It's hard.
I'm trying to think of a good example. Can you guys think of any examples off the top of my head here? Oh, boy. I don't know. Something that actually has some meaning behind it. Would someone have an opinion for a farmer as to how to plant crops?
Sure.
You're doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah. Any person on the street like you. So, anything. Whatever your profession is. If you don't have a foundation in it, it's just like Jeff's dying over there.
So we got a comment from Brian here. It's like when you walk around Disneyland and overhear annual pass holders making up incorrect Disney facts.
Yes.
This is the middle of the park. No, it's not.
I'm out of my field here.
Out of my area of expertise.
Out of my field a little bit. That's all right. That's why Jeff's here.
We'll get Jeff on in a second, guys. Moving right along, we've got a headline out of the Amazon. There are plans to construct a major highway through the middle of the Amazon National Park. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but let's first go. What are your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts about that too. I've never been to the Amazon before.
Me either.
But I got my start working on Jaguar in Central America, so in Costa Rica and Nicaragua. So rainforests are incredibly sensitive environments, and we tend to plunder them for their resources, be it for poaching or logging or gold mining or you name it. And yeah, that's great that there's a highway that can connect one town to another, and you use highways for all these other things. But really what this is going to act is like you're penetrating deep into an impenetrable rainforest, and all that does is allow access to these areas of rainforest haven't been allowed access to.
Sure.
And so the ecological effects of that could be pretty scary. But.
I think my basic thought surrounds the idea that I think there should be parts of our world that we decide are going to have limited human contact.
That's like, have you heard of the Half Earth crew?
Yes, yes.
That's like
So,
E.O. Wilson.
save
Yeah, right.
half the Earth for just pure wild.
Yeah.
There's every reason for us to visit, but we could control the visitation to those sections.
Yeah.
I think the Amazon is one of those places that is a World Heritage Site for natural reasons.
Right.
And it is therefore an organism which belongs to the entire planet. And we should all have a say in what's happening there, not just the countries that are involved.
Yeah. Because what happens in the Amazon affects other areas of the world.
Yeah.
And I guess by extension, what happens in other equatorial rainforest sectors around the world influences what happens around the world.
Absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
It's easy to be a bureaucrat and sit behind a desk and then sign a piece of paper saying, yeah, I'll build a road, but not understanding what that physically means or caring about what that means. And I guess the ripple effects of that is very, it's troubling sometimes. So,
Trouble.
Bolsonaro.
Well, don't even get me started. Our final headline this evening: the singing dogs are back. Now, this is an animal
Yes.
I've never heard of.
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate?
I'm going to be honest, I don't know heaps about singing dogs. I know what they are, I know where they're from, but I feel like it's really exciting when you find new populations of things, or really any species. So like, for instance, in Gabon, like they found a new population of lions, and there might be a couple hundred lions in this new population, which is really cool. And so, yeah, there's always new stuff around.
Yeah,
which is great.
always.
Yeah.
So we project there's 8.7 million species. How many more undiscovered do you estimate or even consider there could be? Because it's
Probably
a big
couple
question
million,
mark. And
easy. I mean, like we find like over 150 species of new frogs every year. So
oh, frogs.
that's pretty cool. I love frog speciation. You can have two frogs that look identical to each other, but on a genetic level, they are so different. One builds like a foam nest in reeds. The other one puts its babies on its back in little holes, and then like they make like little songs that are different. It's amazing.
So creepy. Comment here from Pam. Never heard of singing. Yeah, me either, Pam. I'd never heard of them before. I bet they're cute. up close.
Probably a derivative so for a long time people thought that the singing dog in New Guinea is where dingoes came from in Australia. But
Can I say it?
did the dingo eat your baby?
A dingo ate my baby.
Christ. But
What's this?
Yeah. So
Singing
so
dogs.
for
From off camera, New Guinea
so now
singing
that's
dog.
been thrown out. That's not a thing anymore.
The New Guinea singing dog, or New Guinea Highland dog, is a type of dog native to New Guinea Highlands of the islands of New Guinea. How many times can we use New Guinea in that same sentence? Once considered to be a separate species of New Guinea in its own right, under the name Canis halstromi, it is closely related to the Australian dingo,
No,
not from New Guinea.
no, totally separate. Totally separate.
Totally separate.
How exciting.
Big question. Are you a lumper or a splitter?
Depends on what I'm talking about. I
of
will tell you, in recent weeks, months, I have changed my viewpoints on certain things.
So, for those of the audience that don't know what lumpers and splitters are, you can use it in any of the biological sciences to discuss your idea of, would you rather lump species and organisms together into general taxonomic categories, or would you rather split them off continuously and make more and more and more diversification through it and with
Sure.
it? And it's kind of a sticking point. Most people in the field are one or the other.
I am not a geneticist. This is
Neither am I.
a question for a geneticist. I think there's a point where you
To get
need
back to what we were just talking about, everybody has an opinion about everything.
Correct. Yeah. So, but we are both learned enough to have a discussion about it.
I was going to say, at
Yeah.
least we both know the
Right.
material enough to be able
Right.
to have an intelligent discussion.
So,
unlike computers.
If
hardware.
you're looking at things at a genetic level and you go, okay, so this is clearly a different species and this is clearly a different species, great. But it's like when things get muddied and we're like, well, we don't know, and one group says one thing, and I just like, there's a point where these conversations are muddying up conservation progress. And so, in that respect, I think it depends,
Historically, I've always thought lumping makes more sense.
Sure.
So, for some context too, We love having the same argument about giraffes.
Which I've changed my mind on. By the
Have
way.
you?
I
Yes.
have, yes.
Welcome
I
to
have.
my side.
You're welcome. Yes.
So-
Yes. I have changed because
For all the viewers at home,
largely pretense. At the end of the day, I don't care.
neither do I.
Because
But
this is not the species group that I work on. But for conservation purposes, it doesn't make any sense. It pulls
the viewers
away-
at home.
All right, sure.
let's see. I'm not sure how many of us are tuned in because I don't have any number for like how many viewers are currently. But if you're out there and watching, how many species of giraffe do you think there are? And we'll wait. We're going to actually wait. Here, all right, 20 seconds. All right, here we go.
And no Googling.
No Googling. How many species of giraffes are there? There's 5 seconds. We're waiting for the latency so we see what you see because you're 20 seconds behind where we are. 10 seconds. And here we come. Ready, set. 15 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, that should be catching up to him just about now. Hopefully, maybe somebody. Oh, Brian says 5.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe somebody else will think too, but circle in the wagon here. I don't know. Maybe 5, 7, maybe
9.
9. If you're familiar with, we're gonna weird tangent here. The old classical musician and comedian Victor Borg. Just say yes.
Oh yeah. I know Victor. Olvik.
He thought there should be phonetic pronunciation, so we would actually say, like you would say a sentence and then end it with a sound. So for a period, it's for a question mark, it'd be right.
It's not how people speak to each other, but
Long
all
bit,
right.
but 5, 7, 4, maybe, question mark, maybe 9, maybe 1, who knows?
Yeah. at
There is
the
no
end of
right
the
answer to
day,
that question.
It's the conservation that matters. You know,
Right.
splitting hairs at some point, it gets in the way. So, if I'm saying, all right, well, then there's 90,000 wild giraffes, then from my perspective, I say giraffes are fine. But if you're breaking them down into different species, then that's pulling away resources from other things that need to.
Sure.
And the thing in conservation is we get in our own way a lot of the time because we have the same goals, but we don't share data with each other, and we're fighting for the same resources, and so we need to kind of work together a bit more.
Sure.
So if I
And
can
where this is
explain
all coming from is a group called the Giraffe Conservation Fund, who just a few years ago announced that they thought there were 9 separate and unique species of giraffes because they have enough speciation over enough period of time to merit being classified that way. But a lot of other folks in the biological world didn't agree. Traditionally, the answer to how many species of giraffes are there, there's 1 with 4 subspecies. But, you know, we could sit here all night and debate this, and certainly
Clinal variation.
a great chat with you guys about it. But in the interest of time and bringing Jeff in, because he looks pretty cold back there behind the camera, we're
Join us in
gonna
the light, Jeffrey.
we're gonna quickly cut. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
And now contestant number 7, Macatini.
Cadbury's Lunch Bar with nuts, toasty rice, caramel and wafer, all in Cadbury's Dairy Milk Chocolate.
Did you see that, Jimmy? You threw that miles away. That's nothing. What's this? Duck? Fetch.
All right, there's the audio. Welcome back. I got to remember to push that button every time. This is hard being a one-man operation.
It's okay. You're doing a good job. Better than most. You're doing great.
So they are splitters, absolutely. I think GCF certainly is
Yeah.
a group that likes to split everything out. It's dinner time.
Eat up.
We have boba tea.
If you guys were watching one of the streams I did the other day, Misguided Kitchen, we were making some boba tea, which is a South African comfort dish. I'll hold this up so you guys can... Actually, hold on. I can... Look how slick this is. Hold up. Ready?
Check it out.
We're going to just switch angles here. Yes.
Oh my god.
I didn't even have to stand up.
Wow.
South African boba tea, which is a comfort dish. Made of traditionally meats, and you have a nice egg float on top. Then I added some nice kind of almonds and such up there. We did this one, though, the other day with Impossible meat from Impossible Foods. We're going to do a whole nother stream on Impossible Foods coming up in a few weeks, so stay tuned for an announcement on that. But this is our boba tea we made, and if you can get in here kind of nice and tight and see this, it looks so much like meat. It acts so much like meat. It's remarkable, but it's all plant-based. This is 100% meat-free, which is really quite fascinating. What do you guys think?
There's, I think, one thing we can say. Zach, do you want to say it with me? Are you ready?
Whoa!
Wow!
Whoa!
Wow!
So good.
So don't mind us. We're going to
Thank you,
enjoy.
Mr.
I mean, that is so much like meat. It's not even funny. I would say the one difference is it's a little softer.
A
You know what I
bit.
mean?
Yeah. It's hard to tell, though.
But if
Right?
you didn't
It's-
tell me, I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I thought to go with this,
It's not going to go well.
That's right.
let me try this. Bam.
Oh,
Now this,
tiger sauce.
as far as I can tell, this has no
Tiger
conservation
sauce.
value. But it's called tiger sauce, and I thought it was a little funny. Who wants to be the first to try?
Oh,
Try
God,
the
me.
tiger sauce. Here, now I'll give it to
Here,
Jeff.
here you
Do you want heaps or a little?
go. Somewhere in the middle there.
Middle for
Oh,
Jeff.
excellent.
Yes. Tiger sauce all
me up.
around. You betcha. Heaps.
What's in the tiger sauce?
No idea.
No real tiger. Hold
Just eat it. No tiger bones.
on. I can't. I only have. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna put here.
So
know what?
cayenne peppers, sugar, distilled vinegar, water, salt.
No tiger?
No tiger here.
That's not bad.
What's next there, friend?
All right. Moving swiftly on here.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. So really the point of tonight was we were going to try to get into misconceptions. So now we've made our screen nice and tiny. Let me switch this around so I can see what I'm doing.
Dude,
there you
tiger
go.
sauce. Man,
Is that good?
Actually, yeah. I'm surprised.
come back to me.
So we're going to pull up, here we go, map of Africa. Misconceptions about Africa and African travel. We went over last week, and we're probably going to hit this again for this stream. There are 54 countries in the continent of Africa, and there are 7 continents in the world, right? Can you guys name them all?
Oh,
Antarctica.
That's the one I was going to start with.
He took your continent.
Australia. North America.
Yes.
South America. Europe. Asia. Ohio.
Leave. Africa. Africa's massive. You could take basically all the rest of the world and put it into Africa and still have like Madagascar and the Seychelles left over. You know, there's plenty of space. But Africa is so misunderstood. I think especially Americans and maybe Canadians have this weird predetermined idea that it's this challenging place to get to, and it's dangerous and it's hot and it's scary, and there's all these thoughts behind it. I've noticed, at least in travels there, Europeans are everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Right, especially Italians and Germans.
mostly
You can't go more than 10 feet in this world without bumping into a German.
No.
It feels like. I mean, no, not dissing them, but really. So we were going to cover just some misconceptions about Africa, and this is more from an American point of view as opposed to like a European point of view or Asian point of view or South American point of view, Australian.
point of view.
So first one, just like last week, we hit on Africa as a country. No, no, 54 countries. Where do you guys think the misconception comes from, though? Again, we're thinking the American point of view.
People that don't travel.
I've met a lot of folks that are from America that just flat out say, I don't feel the need to ever travel anywhere. I'm content with.
Which is weird.
Hi.
I will remember a direct quote. I don't go nowhere where they don't play baseball.
So here in Japan,
They play baseball in Japan.
I said here in Japan, that's where you can go.
That made me laugh.
That's wow.
Sad.
You don't know. I don't know. I think when we think about it as Americans, we're like, oh, America's really big. It's one country. So Africa's also really big in just one country.
Yeah.
Sure.
We kind of forget to break it up into, obviously separate countries.
The many states of Africa.
Yes.
The United Countries of Africa. The United States of Africa.
States of Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Which country is on the top of your African travel list, and which is on the bottom, and why?
Oh,
Oh man.
I'll start. Kenya is on the top of my African travel list,
Yeah.
and Liberia is on the bottom of my African travel list.
Okay.
Because Kenya looks like the images in your head tell you that Africa should be, just those epic landscapes, big herds of free-ranging animals. And Liberia is a country made up of former American slaves. Literally, that's how the country was founded. Former American slaves returned to Africa and set up their own country. And the politics there are super unstable. And it's a challenging part of the world to travel safely.
fair. I would probably say Uganda. At the top, and then at the bottom,
Yeah.
a lot of West Africa.
Cameroon out, Gabon out,
Well,
Burkina Faso
no,
out.
I'm talking like Algeria, like the west side, because it's just
Let's bring that
like
map back up real quick.
You see, like the reason why I travel is I don't remember the last time I traveled on like a holiday. Most of the time I'm working. And so when I look at this, I go, all right, well.
Well, there
most
was
of the
Florida like
wildlife-
2 years ago.
What's it?
There was Florida 2 years ago.
Wow. Oh boy. But like the wildlife is either hunted out 50 years ago or gone, and so for me, like I don't see that there isn't much of a reason to go. But yeah, no, Uganda just seems pretty great. I mean, like something is like sitting around with gorillas in the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, and then going to Queen Elizabeth National Park with the tree climbing lions. That's a good deal.
Oh. And I was just about to ask you guys actually, what countries you would want to visit or maybe not visit in Africa. Pam jumped in. She said,
Straight to the
not
top
aware of
that road.
Liberia's history. It's challenging. And Botswana, I would absolutely want to go to Botswana. That's probably number 2 on my Africa travel. So I'm right there with you, Pam.
No.
Jeff, what about you? Where would you
Well, I
want
was
to?
gonna say Botswana, but now
No,
I
no,
feel
you
like I
can
can't say Botswana
Totally
anymore.
go with Botswana. Yeah.
You can say like
you and Pam
Lesotho.
should set up a trip. Let's go.
Let's go.
What do you want
Yeah.
to see in Botswana? Specifically,
You don't want to know.
name a park.
Jeff, what do you want to see in Botswana? Let it out.
You can guess.
Some antelope.
Yeah.
Which
I want
antelope?
to see wild hensbok. So I would love to go to the Kalahari.
That
You
would
could do
not-
that in South Africa.
That
We
would,
could do that in
That
South
would
Africa.
not
Like a little
be
bit,
hard,
wouldn't it, maybe?
hard to do.
We're gonna
You
do
see,
it.
most people that like do what we do and they want to travel around the world, they want to find animals that are like difficult to find, like a snow leopard,
I
or
don't
like
care.
a pangolin, or
Sure.
what else? Like a bloody helmeted hornbill. But you're like, just go to any wild space in
don't care.
Botswana. Krimsbok.
There they are.
That's easy. That's easy. You are a happy man.
I'm, cheap date,
Hey, if it works, it works.
$2 chuck for Jeff.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if he can get the reference. If the boot fits. What is it from?
Well, it's from an older movie, but
Yeah.
Toy Story 2
That's
is what you're going for,
Yeah.
isn't it?
If the boot fits.
Say that again.
The Delta is absolutely amazing. I would, aside from Kenya, I think my next travel spot would be Okavango Delta, hands down. I feel like that would just overwhelm you with emotion and joy and all kinds of feelings that probably you've never even known that you could express before, right?
Yeah. That's what the wild does to you, you know?
Not that chicken crowing in the distance.
No. Not even a little bit.
Oh, Nicole's on.
Nicole!
Hi, Nicole.
Hey!
She was going anywhere you're going, Jeff.
Yeah!
We're going to get you two
Jeff
on a
and
trip to
Nicole
Botswana.
together.
We're gonna go see antelope.
Straight to Conte d'Ivoire.
And where would you not want to travel, Jeff?
I was gonna go back and say I would love to see gorillas, so I'd love to go to Uganda. Or Rwanda
Are we
or
going,
something like
Jeff?
that. I would love to.
Are we
Do you
all
guys
going?
think COVID is going to have any impact on the future of getting to see gorillas or chimps? Because you have to apply for a permit to go see those animals.
Yeah.
And with COVID, do you think it's going to be 3 or 4, 5 years before they
It'll
start
be
doing
a
that?
good stretch probably because
Yeah.
like they're so sensitive to us already.
Yeah.
Now that we've got COVID going on, you know.
I
Yeah.
hope not, but that. Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
I'd want to travel with you to see the gorillas because I feel like it would be kind of like an idiot abroad.
Flip.
Yeah.
Like a
Very
little
much.
So he's Carl,
Yeah.
uncomfortable
Ricky
the whole
in
time, and you just like enjoying him be uncomfortable, like me in that cowboy town.
There's a Netflix.
Yes.
There's a Netflix special in there somewhere.
Oh, God, that's
Netflix
so
sponsor
good.
us.
All right, well, there you have it. Our African travel and maybe
Yeah,
not
you
travel
can read it.
destinations. Glad to hear a couple of you guys. So, Brian there, I didn't see Toy Story 2. He knew it, hands down.
Yeah.
And Nicole, I don't know if you heard, but we were talking about where would we want to travel in Africa and where wouldn't we want to travel in Africa maybe. I think in the end, I'd love to go to all 54 countries. But, like, definitely not, for me, Liberia is, like, number one. Like, maybe wait 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Sure.
A little bit. Anyway,
But also, if you look at areas that are dangerous, say like Liberia.
hold on.
say-
Our next point, people think Africa is dangerous.
Oh, okay. Perfect segue.
Scary.
So, if you go to areas that have a lot of red flag travel warnings, like Congo or Chad or Liberia, Algeria, a lot of like North Africa, most of those are limited to city centers, and so most people that travel to Africa generally are going to wild areas, be it like far out in the desert, or like out in the Kruger, or out in the jungle. Once you're out there, it's fine,
Yeah.
Like honestly, I feel safer walking around in a forest with a high leopard density than walking around the Tenderloin at night,
I like how you made that joke last week, but
Yes.
it's still funny.
It's still funny. Yes. It's easy. Ripcord. Yes.
But so true.
Only funny for like North Bay people.
Yeah.
The bottom line is Africa's not dangerous, really. I think, like anywhere in the world, use your head. Could you go to parts of Europe and get into some sticky situations? Absolutely.
I've seen the Italian job.
Here in the States. Leave.
Who are you?
Here in the States, in
thinking
Canada,
of your
South America,
imagination.
Asia, wherever you are in the world,
Journey into
you have to use
imagination.
one basic tenet, which is common sense. I wouldn't wander around Soweto with my iPhone above my head, or,
Doing this show, just selfieing.
Yeah, I
Right.
wouldn't actively wander around with my equipment for Misguided in the middle of Soweto,
No.
unless I had some other folks with me to help back me up. But,
Be smart.
Don't be dumb.
Like, I
Which
remember-
is what I said last week. Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
I remember we were driving from Kruger. We were going to show the folks. Actually, can I borrow this? Jeff and I trained at this group here.
Don't mind the gross sweat stains.
Jeff and I trained at this camp, Limpopo Field Guiding Academy. I've got my hat. It's just in the house. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we were on our way from Kruger to the camp, which was north of Johannesburg by about an hour and a half. And we came to this stoplight, and I was looking for directions on my phone. And I'm wearing literally the same clothes I'm wearing now
Literally.
on my phone. And I remember looking out the window because, it's flipped. So the driver was here. I'm here in the passenger seat. And there was this car with way more people in it than it was ever qualified for. And they're all just glued to the window staring at me. And I'm like, I'm in a Patagonia coat using an iPhone. I'm a target right now. That feeling comes over you. So you just use some common sense, and I think you'll be just fine. checking in on the comments here. Lemurs are cute. I saw Pam and Nicole were talking about Madagascar. Wouldn't that be like the most amazing trip ever?
That's a good choice.
That's a cool choice. Sure.
Trying to remember.
I don't know why I didn't think of Madagascar.
Hard to
Is the language
digest
there?
for
Is it
him.
Marrakesh?
Malagash.
Malagash. Thank you. I was close. Marrakesh,
Malagash.
Malagash. Where all the E's and O's are stretched. They're kind of Canadian a little bit in that way. Madagascar would be so cool. For me, I guess the one animal that's actually let's all say it, that the one animal that we like absolutely want to see in the wild, because mine is an Indri, INDRI, which there are none in captivity. Lemurs are really fickle in captivity, and the Indri is massive. If we had one standing here with us, its head would come up to about right here. It's almost as tall as a small child, and they have a call that can be projected. Some say up to 5 miles away. I think that's a stretch, personally.
Can I hear your injury impression?
No. My voice
Can
is
we
too
hear
deep.
yours?
Sure. It's kind of like.
That's pretty good.
I'm thinking of Talladega Nights or Step Brothers. Shut up! You're waking the neighbors. That would be the coolest trip ever, to go into the jungles of Madagascar and see the wild Indri before their home disappears, because the Madagascan forest is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and
I think
I want to see it before it's gone.
I think 48% of it's left.
Less? The last I read.
Less.
Less.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, Madagascar is cool because it's roughly the size of California, and it's a really good example of what happens when evolution goes crazy on an island for 18 million years. So.
Yeah. Let's jump back into misconceptions. Pam says gorilla would be her top choice, and I didn't get from you guys. What would be your top number one animal to go see in the wild? So Indri, gorilla with Pam.
So in Africa?
In the whole world.
Oh.
In the whole world. Shit.
I have it. Be on foot with a tiger.
So I'm hearing Ranthambore 2022.
You betcha. Yeah,
I have to think really hard about this
So
one.
we'll
I
come
might
back to
be-
you.
I might be a bit.
You pass?
I
Okay.
pass.
so it's not just go anywhere
It's
in
not
Africa
just kudu.
and
As
see
much
a
as I
kudu.
love them.
Nicole says she'd be geeking about the reptiles more than anything else.
Mellors
fair.
chameleon, you got it, baby.
All right.
I like chameleons.
The number one reptile for me would be
Acrodonta.
the thorny devil.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
Those are
really
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're fairly common, but
They live in areas where people don't go.
I want to see a thorny
You'd have to
devil.
go look for them.
Anyway, our third point on the African misconception list: African people are disease-ridden, and I felt really weird writing this, knowing I was going to put it live and then
should have.
put it on the internet, because here we are sitting with above our heads somewhere
And then
African
we
people.
were cancelled.
Cancel,
folks.
Good night. The short answer to this is not at all. Tiger safaris are so fun, like crazy fun, but not on foot.
so you can't like walk on foot in Indian national parks because it's illegal. But tigers, like they might have a range of like 500 square kilometers, and they come out of the national parks and go into buffer zones just outside of the national park. So I'd like to be in a buffer zone. And
A
just
buffer
see
zone.
this cat just kind of go right over a road, look at me, and then keep on going. That's it.
And Brian says a rhino. Brian, we can
What
fix that
kind
for you.
of rhino?
Yeah,
That's
what
I
type
wanna
of
know.
rhino? There's
'Cause I was
5 to
gonna
choose
go
from.
Back to the question.
Oh.
I would say Sumatran.
Oh.
Because how cool would that
You guys are
be?
making
They're
me
so...
think. I would like to see a saula.
Oh.
So he's obsessed with this bizarre antelope.
It's not an antelope.
It's
It's
basically
not.
a weird thing.
It's a whole
It's basically an
New
antelope.
world.
different class of herbivore. This thing is a relic from millions of years ago.
It's basically an antelope.
No.
It's an old antelope.
Oh, they're so good. You guys get bored. Look up Saula. Look up the Saula working group and all the work that they do on this animal. Well, there's maybe only 40 in the whole world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm following the comments here. Brian says rhino. I'm thinking, Brian, we'll do Misguided in the Bush. We'll have you on as a guest. We'll travel to South Africa. We will arrange the trip. Let's do South Africa late 2021. Rhino. We'll do Misguided
He's
from...
seen Rhino. He was a skipper on the Jungle Cruise. There's a black rhino on that.
Nicole says she wants to see a dole. So I'm thinking
Straight to India.
2022. We'll do
Alright.
Misguided from India. We'll do
Okay.
tigers. We'll
go.
bring out Nicole to India with us. We'll look for dole and tigers in the bush.
Oh, good.
We're scheduling ourselves for all kinds
To
of
the
fun.
buffer zone.
That's to the buffer zone. Let's jump to point number 3. To get back to that, African people aren't disease-ridden. Are there diseases in Africa? Sure, but there's diseases everywhere. The only disadvantage is that African folks don't have as immediate access to medications that you and I do. Like, for example, malaria. When we all go, usually we take malaria meds with us.
We didn't for 4 weeks, but it's fine.
Usually.
We're on a malaria-free zone.
Malaria is more active there because it's more challenging in rural communities to get access to that medicine. This isn't rocket science. Bill Gates goes on about this. Most of our problems are solvable. It's just we have to commit ourselves to actually solving them. Point number 4, and this one is a huge, like, what to me? Africa has no history. What is this?
Who's saying that?
What does that even mean? Are you serious?
Like, I don't know if these people missed the boat or anything, but like human history literally began in Africa.
Once upon a time, 200,000 years ago.
Like, what does this mean? Africa has no history.
What?
All of the world's most ancient civilizations are from Africa. You know, so thinking of Disney, and you and Brian can connect on this, why has Disney, they've invested so much money in all these other princess ideas, even so far as to do the first African-American princess, but they did it from, like, Louisiana.
Yeah.
There are a rich...
I'm proud of you for knowing that.
I try. There are a rich plethora of African folktales that involve any number of amazing stories and princesses. Why hasn't Disney invested any effort into that?
Hamlet with lions doesn't count?
No.
No, dude.
No, there are beautiful folktales from all over Africa that would
I
make
agree.
killer Disney movies and amazing Disney
And
princesses.
then just Adventureland expands.
Or how about like the Disney version of like the Shaka Zulu story?
Right? Come on, that would be killer.
Literally.
Get rid of Black Panther. Is Black Panther Disney?
Black Panther's
I don't know
wild.
this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Disney.
but you know that's a fictional place, but it's fine. Wakanda's real.
And Indiana Jones is real.
Yeah, it's all real.
It wouldn't make Disney money.
Force.
I disagree. I think an African folktale version Disney could concoct to make a princess movie would make them a ton of money because it's an unexploited market that no one has really. We've talked about this. From whatever reason, Africa's been completely overlooked, in my opinion, by lots of media.
I feel like a lot of areas.
Because
I mean,
they have no history.
Oh,
Duh.
duh. Sorry. Yeah.
I think people are just afraid to touch it because,
Sure.
you know, racism. But Disney has a great history with that. But I think you're right. I think you're onto something.
Then
I think
Disney
they could.
cancelled us.
The mouse bot misguided and then canceled it.
Yeah, those 3 out.
Get rid of them. Point number 5. Africa is filled with animals roaming freely.
Well, depends on where you go.
Sure.
You're not like gonna find like a lion walking through Durban, you know.
Do you think the misconception, so like I live up in the hills here, and just before the show actually we were commenting, there was a bunch of deer down below us. Do you think the misconception is people think in suburbs like this, there's just like lions wandering around?
Sure, but
Yeah.
again, it depends on where you live. So like in East Africa, there's no fences, and so like the overlap for where people live and where wildlife lives is very apparent. But in like South Africa, in like the city centers, there's just hard fences and barriers and stuff. And even still, some animals like leopards and hyenas and painted dogs will get out of parks and stuff. But on the whole, no, not really.
Let's check in with the comments here. Pam says, not Disney literate. I'm right there with you, Pam. All this is beyond me. Brian says, Disney doesn't take risks anymore. Also, the characters wouldn't be white, so why would Disney bother? That's a little too true. Like I said, you two would get it. I know nothing of Disney. Complete Disney illiterate.
You know more than you think,
No, I don't.
but I don't.
Whenever the park reopens, let's do an episode of Misguided from Disneyland.
Okay.
I
From-
just want you on Jungle Cruise. Brian, you'll be the skipper.
He's not there anymore.
Doesn't matter. You're gonna
We'll bring him
hijack
back.
the boat. It's fine. No, that's what I want.
Brian, could we even do that? If I brought all my stuff, or even just my phone, could I stream Misguided from Disneyland? Would they kick me out for doing that?
Maybe.
They shouldn't.
We should do
No,
like
as long as you don't have a selfie stick.
No,
you're
no
good.
selfie stick.
Yep, you're good.
Misguided does Epcot.
Yes.
Let's go drink around the world, baby.
I.e. cultural appropriation.
Yeah, I refer to Jeff for anything Disney too, Nicole. We're about halfway through our list, just kind of keeping a tab on the time here. What do you guys say? Let's cut to our musical moment of the week.
Yes.
So if you're new to the show, musical moment of the week is just kind of a fun, I don't know where it even came from, honestly. I like music. I come from a music background, so I thought, let's just do this weird music moment of the week. Sometimes we'll use footage that we shot. Sometimes we'll use stock footage. Doesn't matter. The point is, for you, the viewer, sit back, relax, let the music sweep you off your feet, and travel to whatever part of the world we're talking about. So for today's episode, of course, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy a trip to Africa.
Well, Rafika, we're in these parts. Look at that stud go. Sabona campers.
Boy, I miss Steve, don't you guys?
Oh my God, Steve.
Every waking moment of my days.
Last time we got a good trip in with him, we were up in Tahoe.
Looking for Sasquatch.
Looking for Sasquatch. Again, if you're new to the show, Safari Steve is a wonderful friend of ours. He's, how would you describe him? He's a lovable,
Quirky.
He's like a figment of your imagination.
He's a little bit.
Fever dream.
But he's real.
Like
I've had a few questions from folks outside of the stream actually about who is Safari Steve? What is Safari Steve? So Safari Steve, I'm going to go with the fabricated background. Should we go or? So there's obviously a real one, but
he's like
Do we ruin the magic?
He's like Batman. He's not a person.
well, I think
He's an idea.
let's give them the. He's a creature of the night.
He is vengeance.
He is the hunt.
The story we have made for Safari Steve is Safari Steve is an actor who he he was making a film about Africa and about safari. He was working for Universal Studios, and they were trying to rekindle a little bit of that African kind of magic. And
Sure.
they were doing a modern take of Hatari, I believe it was,
Correct,
right?
yes,
No.
that was it.
And Safari Steve is a method actor, so he got into
Hard,
character.
deep method actor.
Deep. And there was a accident on set one day, and unfortunately he got hit in the head really hard, and is now mentally stuck in the character that he was playing for this rekindled, remade Hatari movie,
Yes.
and can't get out of character. And unfortunately, we just kind of put up with him half the
But, yeah,
time.
he's like our best mate, so we sort of support him as best we can, you know.
Yeah.
Even if he thinks he's like in Africa on safari every day, you know, which is fine. But bless his little heart, you know.
Actually, fun fact, he even showed up to Coburn's wedding.
Yeah, we'll have that video
Amazing.
out soon for you
he
guys.
wasn't invited. but
He wasn't
came
invited, but he
anyways.
showed up to the wedding.
But he did make an appearance.
So he's a good friend of ours, but he's troubled.
Little friend,
Yeah.
poor little guy.
Where were we?
I don't know, where were we going with
Point
that?
number 6.
Ah,
Africa is technologically stunted. This one baffles me.
Listen, like a lot of areas of Africa are the same as the rest of the world. It's just different, you know.
Well, if we pull up the map here, where'd it go? Here it is. Here's the map. Let's pull that up for the viewers at home. Africa, big regions of it are the reason that I'm streaming the show. The metals in the phone, right? The metals in the computer, the metals that you're using are usually mined from parts of Africa. And I'm not saying that Silicon Valley is in Africa, but I'm saying that they have equal access to the same resources that we do.
Yeah, sure.
Are they using the iPhone 12? Not in all parts of Africa. Are they using a Samsung from 8 years ago? Probably.
No.
It depends on where you are.
That's a whole economic, political conversation.
And we're not experts in that. We don't have an opinion about
We
it.
don't have an opinion. What? We have an idea.
So we did the best we could with that one, but we're going to leave it there. This one we can speak more to. The weather in Africa is always hot.
I was talking
Why?
to an old friend, and they were talking to someone about how they were convinced it just doesn't rain in Africa.
What?
Yeah.
Toto.
Like, what?
You bless the rains of Africa.
What?
It's in the song.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yet again, we have to refer to the map. So here's the map of Africa. I've heard a lot of people actually say this, that, oh, it doesn't rain. It's like always hot in Africa. It never rains. Pull up the map here. Here you go. This is Africa. And I don't think this map labels the equator. I'm not sure if you're watching on a phone. This is small. If you're watching on a computer, probably a little bigger. But the equator goes right through the middle of Africa. And if we go back to our high school geography, the further away from the equator, what happens?
Are we waiting for comments?
This conversation
care.
annoys me.
The further away from the equator, the more or less light you'll have seasonally. So you have 16 hours of light here in the summer, right, in where we are. But on the equator, it's consistent 12. My other point to this is the further away from the equator you get, the more variance in weather you might find. And that doesn't mean like, oh, it's not going to rain ever somewhere. But on the equator, it's more reliably the same weather pattern because it faces the sun for the same proportion of the year. The further away you get, the less sunlight you'll have and the more variance in cooler temperatures you might experience. Does it get cool on the equator in Kenya? Absolutely.
It snows.
It snows
It
on
snows in a lot of areas of Africa.
Yeah.
It snows. Any weather pattern you can ever think of, it happens there, you know.
If you are in South Africa, you're basically as far away from the equator as the San Francisco Bay Area is. That's crazy to me. That's really cool.
Yeah.
We got a comment here from Pam. She says, it's not hot in South Africa in May. It's freezing, especially when
bloody
camping.
cold.
It's really cold, like it is here right now. And
Yeah.
the only thing keeping us warm is this alcohol, which is why we drink it.
And the fires of wildlife conservation.
That too, warming us, the imaginary fire right here. Absolutely, Pam, though. It gets really cold in South Africa. All my friends from there text me all winter long, and they're like, it is so cold here. Can we come to
Yeah.
California? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
COVID, no.
not much.
Well, in the summertime. Have you seen the glowing worms? Yes.
Not in Africa.
Yes, we did. Remember?
New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
at
know what
camp.
you're talking about.
Yeah, at
yeah.
camp, totally. That was like it blew my mind. Glowworms.
That was towards the end of the trip.
That was
wasn't
tail
it?
camp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember why they glow?
Oh God. Go. Just explain it.
Bioluminescence, luciferins.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to get real specific, or do you just want the term?
I want the term
Oh,
lucifer.
okay. Bioluminescence.
That's
Yeah.
the cheating one.
Okay.
Bioluminescence. Glowing worms, so cool, right?
Yes.
Did you see them, Pam? I'm gonna assume maybe because you were camping there. I'm assuming that's why you find penguins in South Africa. Do you want to elaborate?
Fun fact: most penguins live where it's warm.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's like only like a couple penguin species you see in Antarctica, and so you see like I think of the 28 penguin species, I think like 20-ish, 21, 22 of them live in South America and Africa and Australia and New Zealand and such. So yeah. Yay.
I don't know about you guys, but I think
Festive.
really visually, or I think visually and with music, especially when I'm editing film stuff together, like if I can find the right music to go with something, I can put a whole thing together with film.
Yeah.
And I don't have the rights to it yet, but there's a song called The Happy Organ.
Oh no.
You guys should look it up. I don't have the rights to it, so I'm not going to try to play it now, but Happy Organ. It's an old like 50s, 60s song. I have this vision someday of getting to travel in Africa and make media and content. And I want to go to the Skeleton Coast and just south near Cape Town. And I want to film penguins in Africa, or penguins as they're called.
Penguin.
Penguins in Africa. And I want to use the Happy Organ as the background music for that segment. Because I just picture those little waddling bodies, right? And waves crashing, they're all falling. The Happy Organ just cheerfully playing in the background. You know, and then I'm kind of off to the side with that Bourdain narration, just sort of narrating the experience. This is
Grumpy and judging penguins.
this is a ridiculous animal. Or how would you say? If you're ever on the Skeleton Coast, you might find the most ridiculous animal in South Africa.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
And then there's just me.
Look, penguins.
Just happy to be there.
Happy Organ. You guys should check that out.
Me tide pooling, looking at weird things.
Right.
Point number 8. The water in Africa isn't safe to drink.
Let me tell you a story about my friend Brent. This man.
Oh boy, so he's talking about a guy called Brent Leo Smith, who's a guide in South Africa. Now he does his own thing. He has a YouTube channel called Painted Dog TV, and Brent is actually going to be a guest on Misguided coming up.
Yeah.
We've been able to contact him, and we've asked if he could do a live safari from the bush interview with us. So we'll be chatting with him, hanging out with him as he's on a safari, and we'll interview him about Painted Dog TV and why he's doing that, what that means, what it is, and then it's going to be a segment on Misguided here in just a few weeks, probably early January. So keep an eye out for that with Brent Leo Smith, the infamous guide from South. Is infamous the right word?
I would say decorated.
Decorated.
There you go.
Guide from South Africa. Continue.
This man has a bulletproof stomach. He could eat. He can drink out of any puddle of anything and be fine. He's like Giardia or whatever, you know. Not everyone has to drink that same water, you know. So when I'm in the Sopansberg, the water that I drink comes from a waterfall, and it just comes down pipes and goes straight into the house, and it's fine, you know. So, as with anything, depends on where you're getting your water from.
Sure.
You know. Is there a dead kudu in the river that has tainted the water? Maybe. If not, it's fine.
But
Why
I don't
did it
know
have to be a kudu.
If by
There's
this
lots
they
of
mean
kudu
that
in
like
Sopansberg.
the water in town, the
Could've
water
chose
in
Impala.
camps.
There's no impalas in Sopansberg.
You could have chose any other antelope.
Well, you see, the kudu is a forest antelope, and I work in a forested mountain range where they are very abundant.
All right.
Hashtag leopard food.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Moving on. I don't know. This really depends. The water in Africa isn't safe to drink. You could argue that the water in Flint, Michigan isn't safe to drink. Right? You could argue this point anywhere in the world. It depends on the infrastructure surrounding that area. In many parts of Africa I can think of, in rural communities, it's long since been seen as the work of women to go collect water in the morning. So they walk many miles, pull up gallons of water and then walk back home, and that's the water that family has for the day. Those are really rural communities. In town, though, like Cape Town, right, for the last few years has been under a huge drought. So they're rationing water. I think that's finally turning. But it was down to, what was the saying? They had signs in the hotels that said, if it's brown, flush it down. I think that was it. If it's brown, flush it down. Meaning that, you know, if you're, when you use
toilet paper.
when you relieve yourself. Oh, that was more to it. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Yeah.
That was what they were telling people to conserve water. So it just depends on where you are. Point number 9. There are hundreds of insects and snakes.
I vote thousands.
This is true. Yeah,
There's
this
heaps. Thousands.
Getting down to it, though, by this they probably mean there's hundreds of scary snakes and insects.
It depends on if you're afraid of snakes.
Yeah, what do you define as scary?
Snakes.
If you're afraid of
Why
snakes,
did it have to be snakes?
Then there's hundreds of
Very dangerous.
scary snakes. But snakes are fun. You know, I mean, like in the Sopansberg, we have mambas and wormschlangs and snouted cobras over the veranda, and they're fun.
I want to see a gaboon adder.
Me too.
That'd
Let's
be.
go to the
Have you guys ever heard of a gaboon adder? That'd be a really cool snake to see. Look at the face of fear there.
Yeah. Hard to see in Southern Africa. More common in like Uganda. There's a cool viper. They're great.
Yeah. Every morning when I was showering, I was always like, the back of my head was like, I feel like a snake is going to come into the shower with me. Like a puff adder or a mamba or something cool.
Did you see any snakes when you were showering in the morning?
No, we did see a few rock pythons, but not
Right.
when I was showering.
Yeah.
We didn't see any cool snakes.
I think we found like a dead snake and like the skin of a puff adder or something.
Yeah,
That
that's
was-
right.
That was it.
And
Yeah.
there was more. We like dissected it
Yeah.
because that's what you do
That's
in the bush.
right. Yeah.
Nicole says she got sick from tap water in Russia once. I believe that 100%.
Sure.
Russia is its own can of worms. I don't know anything about Russia.
Or its
Maybe
water
Nicole
system.
can come on the show as a guest. We'll do a whole show about Russia.
Talk to us about water.
Maybe you should have drank
But
vodka.
in Russian,
Pepsi.
because I know Nicole can speak
I
Russian.
think that's why the Russians all drink it, because it's cold and the water's not good. Bring on all the snakes. I woke up with a puff adder near me in South Africa. That's got to be crazy. I really want to go see one.
Yeah.
Have you seen a puff adder?
Many. Heaps. There's lots in the Sopansberg.
What is the most, I'll use the word hazardous, snake that you've ever come across?
Just in Africa or in general?
The whole world.
I saw a taipan once growing up.
And is that like if you're bit by it, you're done?
Pretty much. You got 20 minutes.
Super.
But think about so venom's really cool. There's like eight different venom compounds. Sometimes you get cocktails of different venoms, and so so puff adders have a myotoxic and cytotoxic venom cocktail. And I heard a story once about a puff adder that bit a black rhino and dissolved its foot off, which is pretty cool.
Jesus.
But if you think about all the most venomous snakes in the world, they all come from very hard to live parts of the world, like a lot of arid areas and deserts and rainforests. And so if you're talking like arid desert type reptiles like puff adders and mambas and snouted cobras and you get it, food doesn't come around all that much, or even if it does, it's even like a snake can get injured by its food, and so it's just lights out, so I can just eat you straight away, so yeah, snakes are great.
Yeah.
Let's all say Wormschlang.
Boomschlang.
And Alex, how would the Americans pronounce that?
Boomslang. Nicole says absolutely a Russia show.
I saw that.
Only if you help us. If you come as a guest, we will. Yes. We have a book about it. So, Nicole, if you come help us and be a guest, we'll do a show about Russia, because I know nothing about I could talk about the Soviet Union for a little bit, and
We could talk about how Russia is the first nation in the world to formally protect a big cat.
okay.
Weird.
See, I know nothing about Russia.
I was
All
just
Africa.
gonna go Ice Planet of Hoth. I mean, that's like the same, right?
Oh, that's right. Pam says there's
We can
a
talk about
mammals
tauntauns.
community member from
Yeah.
Russia. He live streamed a bird watching walk once. I totally forgot. He does really good, beautiful cinematography too.
does?
I can't remember his name, but there's a guy on Mammals from
Oh,
from.
yeah.
Maybe we could get him as a guest, a virtual guest.
Yeah.
Brian says, once during a backpacking trip with my dad, I sat next to a rattlesnake. I was 10 and the ADHD was working overtime, so I didn't see it. Didn't get bit, though.
That's cool.
That's good.
That's
Really,
good.
I mean,
General rule, don't get bit.
Don't get bit. Point number 10. Africa's politicians are corrupt.
Yeah. Not all of them, but a lot.
I mean, the folks that I know in South Africa, and I can only really speak for there, definitely say that they feel the politicians there are corrupt and causing issue, and it's leading to things like the power shutoffs that plague the country. It's leading to politicians just literally taking money and like buying sports cars and leaving. So why not? But is that any different here?
And like the other thing is, once you get a position of power in Africa, the thing is like you don't want to lose your job. So like a lot of people there would rather do nothing and put stuff off than make a bad decision and then lose their job.
Sure.
And so that's why a lot of things just don't get done sometimes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jeff.
I have nothing to add.
Jeff De Silva, everyone.
Nothing to
I
add.
don't do politics. Everyone knows that. Come on.
That's a tricky one to answer. I think that gets into a very fundamental human kind of discussion. And again, I would argue that that's true anywhere in the world. I don't know why all these points are just put so heavy on Africa.
Because Africa's scary.
It's not, though. I'm making it my goal personally to get more Americans, especially to travel there and spend money there and invest in there, because Africa is the future, in my opinion. I think it'll be the next economic powerhouse, really, because it's look, think about how much undeveloped land there is, and I don't want to develop it all, but what I'm meaning is like land with potential beyond simple tourism, but as a continent, what it has to offer the world is not being fully realized by far. And my goal is through this show, through what else I do, is try to get people more interested in being there and experiencing that wildlife.
Yeah, I feel like we touched on it last week. It's like everyone makes it this big, bucket list thing to go, and it's like it doesn't have to be a bucket list thing. I mean,
like a once a year kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Once a year.
Every now and again.
Like you go to Planet
Hawaii,
Hollywood.
You can do that, or like do Disneyland 6 times a year.
We made that joke last week too, but it's fine.
And it's never not funny.
All right, so Great America.
Because that's
Six
a whole
Flags.
demographic of people.
I think we could do a whole offshoot of Misguided where we just go to theme parks and judge them heavily. Looking for like conservation points and sustainability points.
Oh.
Straws. Think of the sea turtles. How could you? Jeez.
We're going down the rabbit hole.
Way down. Well, those were our 10 points about myths about Africa, myths about travel in Africa. I guess they're not really specific to like safari travel per se.
Right.
But, holistically. So we'll cover kind of more in-depth safari things as we cover future episodes and such.
Yes.
Just waiting to see if any other comments stroll in, any questions, any thoughts out there in the interworld. I'm staring down here at my computer. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm checking the show here on the computer to make sure that I'm addressing anything you guys have on your mind. You guys have any percolating thoughts?
I'm shocked it's 8 o'clock already.
I know.
Right? Where did that go? It's already 8:10. Jeez.
We've been here 15 minutes, I feel like.
Yeah.
Where has the time gone?
Where has the time gone? We saw Safari Steve. We did
Safari Steve.
we saw
dude.
wildlife in Africa.
I did an injury impression,
They saw a
did?
commercial for Lunch Bar.
which is a delicious candy bar.
I can't wait for when the world is open and we can be streaming the show from the Kruger. That's really my goal in the next year, to stream from Kruger and have real lunch bars and just sit there and shout out.
But also there's a bull elephant just here.
Just
Yeah.
off in the
I
distance.
miss those lunch bars real bad.
I think one thing I'm going to start doing in the next maybe week or so, why not?
Brian says, keep
Going. We're going to milk this for all it's worth.
Okay, milk away. We got nowhere to be.
I think I'm going to stream. So you know how the Sandparks does live cams?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to turn one of those on, stream it, and then I'll sit and do like a Q&A. so we can all just
That's a
hang
good
out and
idea.
watch we can all watch a water hole together live and just chit chat and do a Q&A about wildlife or whatever's on your mind.
Leopard, spear tackle, a kudu.
Streaming from Kruger, I think, would be
Bastard.
peak #1 goal for this show. I have no idea what the future of the show is going to be, but
Sure.
my goal is in the next year to stream
Right.
from Kruger.
It will be right.
Like this lantern. This is so soliloquy for my future.
This old lantern.
Dirty lantern.
Old dirty, that's you. All right. Next to TR.
Next to old TR.
Streaming from Kruger will be amazing. Yes, it will.
Yeah. We've got all the tech for it. All the camps have Wi-Fi now, so
And all the plucky attitudes in the world.
it'll just be so refreshing to be streaming and actually have epic wildlife moving
Something
behind
other
us.
than a deer behind us.
A deer or that black
Something
oak
to-
tree.
Like a living, breathing ecosystem where life is just in motion to work with,
Yeah. Dreams for 2021. Hopefully COVID allows for it. I'm confident. The vaccine's out.
I think so.
Yeah, why not?
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
We'll see
Stay
what
hopeful.
happens. We'll see what happens. At any rate, guys, we'll sign out for tonight, but join us next week. Not quite sure the topic yet. I think next week we're going to probably do our final episode and then do like a short holiday break. We'll do a thing for New Year's, maybe not on New Year's Eve, because I imagine you guys all have your own things you want to get up to for that. But I've got a New Year's collection that we'll put together. I think we should all watch that live together. I'm not going to show it to you guys ahead of time
Oh, yeah.
because I've put together like a collection of stuff from 2020.
Oh, boy.
And I think we should all just watch it together and,
Is
enjoy
it
it.
just videos of you eating Cheetos during lockdown?
How did you know?
You ruined the surprise.
Oh, what to do today? Oh, yes, eat and drink. Here we go.
Eat and drink again. But we'll be coming at you with more conservation content coming up soon. Keep an eye out. We'll announce when we do the live drive with Brent Leo Smith. That's probably going to be pre-recorded.
Your mum says leg positions are better tonight.
She said last week when Jeff was here, he crossed his leg and it looked like, I think she said you were sitting on his lap the whole time.
Maybe I was.
Who knows?
Watch the episode again.
I'm glad this works better for you.
Play by play.
He is sitting on his lap. I knew it. Well, I mean, we'll give the people what they want.
Oh, you mean Coburn's mum?
Yep, that's
That's
there
not
you go.
uncomfortable at all.
Fine.
Well,
Goodbye, everybody.
On that note,
Y'all come back now.
thank you guys for watching. We'll have a great evening.